Good morning and merry everything for however you might celebrate this great day. We hope many of you were up and watching the amazing launch of the James Webb Telescope. All was perfectly nominal. So, a big congratulations to the European Space Agency, the Canadian Space Agency, and NASA. As the science director of NASA, Thomas Zurbuchen, said, look at what can happen when we all work together. So we celebrate an engineering feat, something that is going to give us nothing but awe and humble us, I'm sure, to our knees when we see those first images back. Congratulations to the many, many hands, engineers and artists, and all that made this morning's launch possible. To Ariane Space, again, congratulations to the people of Peru, Guyana. Again, we wishing everyone a very happy day, and thanks to the James Webb, we had something truly even more special to celebrate early this morning. We're here celebrating this holiday with Space Connects. I am sure that the founder and creator of this grand event has a few words. My friend and amazing human, take it away.
Thank you, Janet. Thank you so much for everyone for being here today. It's a special edition today. It's a Christmas and the last episode edition, episode 63, Space Unity through Art and Performance. So it's my great privilege to welcome everyone to the last 2021 episode. For the past 2 years, the Space Show and its team has done our best to serve you by making you aware of important issues that may affect our future as a human race in a new and emerging fields such as quantum technology, space technology, and how space is opening up for all to experience. We had even discussions about how there are initiatives to live in space, space medicine, however advancements in technology can benefit the human race in the best possible manner if we are united. So the only way out is through unity in an ever world that we're seeing with so much diversity going on. So we hope as a result, we present to you today an episode in which we help inspire you to set the standard and raise the bar, how high we can unify when we collectively work, as Janet says, and respect one another, when we create with one another. This episode has current and future pioneering presenters who will show you their higher order thinking skills and creativity and how that can be used to set the standard of humanity, of unity for the human race. Today's objective is to learn how we can use art to inspire the unity of all of humanity in space, and how creativity sets the standard for the human race to foster collaboration. So without further ado, I will be introducing you to our first presenter, Mrs. Julia Brodsky. She's the founder and lead instructor and CEO of Art of Inquiry. She's a STEM education researcher at Blue Marble Space Institute of Science, and she's also a continuous Forbes education contributor. Today, she's going to present to us Astrobiology, Children, Future, how children reflect on the big questions of space, universe, life, and the future of humanity. The floor is yours, dear Julia.
Thank you so much. Just a second. Let me make it big. And today, first of all, I would like to join everyone in congratulating the James Webb Space Telescope, of course, and all the human civilization. This is a historical moment. The telescope will allow us to peer into the very first stars and explore the atmospheres of the exoplanets. So why do we care? We humans are entering an absolutely new world right now. We are creating it for ourselves. The world of genetic engineering, the world of sophisticated AI, of rapidly evolving technologies, of changing climate. We see a rapid increase of complexity, both social and technological. And it brings new challenges, not only for adults, but for the kids as well. What do we teach our students, our kids in this changing world, unpredictable world? It looks like it's time to teach our kids how to ask questions and not to be afraid of new things. It may be just the time to learn from astrobiology, a science that is reuniting all other sciences and helps us to think about new worlds. This is what we do in the Art of Inquiry online program for preteens. We are helping to educate the future citizens of the universe. Today, I will share with you the space and astrobiology questions illustrated by children, the students of the Artishock Art Studio, which is led by my friend and amazing educator, Ksenia Litvak. So the first question is, what time it is on Mars right now? What time it is on other planets? Why do we care? How do we define time on other planets? This is a huge question because, for example, Mars takes twice as long to go around the sun as Earth. So the year on Mars is twice as long. Where do we start the Martian calendar, on which day? How about months? Here we use the moon to count months, but Mars has 2 satellites instead of 1. All these questions are important for our future exploration of other planets, but also important for planetary bases. How do we deal with those time differences when we want to collaborate with people living on different planets? This is another picture illustrating the same question. What time it is on other planets? One of the big problems that bothers not only adults but the kids is the junk in space. Every year we create more and more junk on the lower orbits that may eventually trap us on this planet and not allow us to send anything into space. That wouldn't allow us to build more internet satellites, GPS satellites, weather satellites, and so on. This is a huge problem where we need the humanity to unite to resolve this issue instead of creating more and more problems. And of course, astrobiology deals with the questions such as, can there be life on other planets? And this is one of the questions that interests not just the adults, but the kids as well. And if there is life on other planets, how different would it be? What are the prerequisites for life? How does the planetary environment affect the life? Here you see a picture of a huge mushroom on another planet. By the way, do you know that the early mushrooms on Earth reached 8 meters high? And of course, what happens to us humans as we move to other planets? Will we turn into something non-human? How will those planets affect our mind and body? And if you think about that, how do planetary environments shape the organisms that live there? The functionality, the way we perceive the world? And how do we distinguish those and recognize those intelligent lives on other planets? For example, we know that yellow slime mold can solve mazes right here on our very own planet. Do you need brain to be intelligent? What makes one intelligent? Astrobiology helps us to ask all of those questions. What if dinosaurs could grow intelligence? Why didn't it happen? They had so much more time than us to develop. What if it did happen on some other planets, right? How would that affect the development of humanity if they would grow intelligent? And how can we communicate with extraterrestrials? All of these questions have lots of benefits. First of all, they inspire the young generation. They show them that the world is full of unanswered questions. They help us to grow the growth mindset and to be resilient. They help the children to see that everything is deeply interconnected on all the scales and everything is changing. And they help us all, kids and adults, to develop the mutual respect and camaraderie and recognize that we're all in this together. So it's often assumed that kids are not interested in thinking about global questions. However, our experience proves that wrong. So here you see a question about viruses. A child is thinking, what if there are viruses on other planets? Could viruses survive in space? What happens to the viruses in space? Yes, this is the question. The astrovirology is a very new field, in part fueled by what's happening on Earth right now. And also, even the littlest children wonder about who we are and our civilization. This is a baby civilization poem, a huge poem, 3 pages, written by a 7-year-old. And this is just a part of it that says, some think we're smart, some think we're dumb, but our civilization is still very new. Remember that, remember that. I would like to thank all the young artists and poets whose works contributed to this presentation. And I encourage all of us to think more about space and how it unites us, both children and adults. Thank you.
Oh, Julia, you and we've got to be even closer, better friends. You have just put into words and shown such amazing things. I too believe that we too often underestimate our youth, and you are seemingly to have that same experience. Do you again, that beautiful poem by a 7-year-old, and that is what I have been probably standing on my soapbox for a long time, going, that is why we start with the very young with space education, because that will continue as we build on their innate curiosity about how the world works and its invariable interconnectedness. Do you have a favorite story that has bubbled up through the years? Do you have a favorite story from watching a kid become truly engaged in their space path or space career?
You know what? One of the wonderful questions a 10-year-old girl told me, she says, every time now that I turn on the water, I wonder, how does it float on other planets?
That is a win. That is such a huge win when that starts happening. This morning, I got a picture from a student who's in 8th grade, and also a message from a 6th grader parent saying they paused all of the holiday festivities to make sure Miss Janet would want us to watch the launch of the James Webb Telescope. So congratulations on the beautiful work you are doing. Again, if I can ever be of help, but again, I think this is that point. Humanity I think is in the best hands of all, and that is in the hands of our children. So thank you so much for sharing so beautifully. We move now to another guest. I am so delighted to introduce her. This is Ayushi Chaudhary. She's a space journalist from India. She's been a space enthusiast for as long as she can remember. She's been nominated for Aerospace Media Awards in Asia and Global Aerospace Media Awards. Ayushi wants to strengthen the awareness around the space industry and help young students transform their space fascination and passion into their professions. For this, she has joined iSpace as the national coordinator for India and is also starting with her own content creation page, Space Sheets, as a STEAM communicator. Alongside her journalism, she has been a part of the education and content industry in various capacities for about half a decade now. She's donning many hats. She is also an occasional spoken word poet and a licensed Zumba instructor, proving that art and science live really happily alongside one another. Today, she will be sharing her journey and insights from her career as an aerospace journalist in a niche field and a less chartered one from women, especially in India. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you so much, Janet. And thank you, Hien and Janet, both of you, for organizing this. I wish all of you a Merry Christmas. And please pardon me for the noise that you might hear in between because the children are busy celebrating Christmas and it's 10 p.m. here in India. So I couldn't go out of the house to another place. But thank you so much for having me here. I'm extremely delighted. It's, I think, a great time. One, it's Christmas. Also, the James Telescope. We recently reached the sun. So I think a lot of exciting stuff is happening in this space industry, and it's a great time for all of us to connect. So as Janet was already mentioning, I will be talking about the space journalism and how my journey has been. How I look at it is space journalism for me has been where my curiosity and creativity, they converge. I hope my screen is visible. Yeah.
It's looking great.
Thank you. All right. So as Janet already introduced me, I'm an aerospace journalist. So before I get into anything else, Julia has already spoken about why space is important. And all of us who are here, I'm pretty sure we acknowledge why the space industry is important. So talking about space journalism, if you ask me, it is personally, I would say, an amalgamation of curating and creating content that communicates and informs about the happenings within the industry. Because as important as it is that the engineers, our scientists and researchers, everybody is out there doing so much of effort to do all the missions that they're doing, it's equally important that all of that is informed about correctly and is communicated. And that is where I think space journalism comes in. Now, for those of you who might be interested, professionally, if I talk about, there are these three branches broadly for journalism. Print journalism is where I would say your writing takes forefront. It is where you write articles, blogs, you interview and you write that for magazines, for newspapers, for websites. Then there is broadcast journalism. Broadcast journalism is about television, is about videos more. Majorly, it's about television. And the multimedia journalism, which is becoming the major central force in the media industry, is where all of this is now coming together because we have our websites, we have so many portals where you can blog, you can write, you can make videos, you can just explore your creativity to no end. You could make graphics, you could edit videos, you could collect the images that are out there and put together anything interesting that comes out of your creativity. So why do I say that space journalism is where curiosity and creativity converge? I'll first talk about curiosity. As even Julia was mentioning, asking questions is extremely important. And that is one thing we need to encourage our children more and more about. They need to ask questions. And I think space industry is the biggest example, which just comes from asking questions, from asking Why does our solar system work like that? Why is our Earth round? How does the sun work? How is the atmosphere on the moon? Or what is it that we will see beyond the solar system? All of these questions are the beginning of the missions that we do. If we won't question, we won't find an answer. So that is where curiosity comes important in journalism, because you have to ask questions. You have to ask questions and then research about them and write about them so that more and more people know the answers. You also have to come in contact with experts from the industry, and you need to know what are the right questions to ask them, because you might not be the expert as a journalist, so you might not have all the answers even after your research, but you can always connect with an expert and bring those answers for more and more people. So that is why I feel curiosity is a very, very important aspect of journalism. Then creativity. Now, creativity is in itself, again, a core out of journalism, because whether you are writing a small blog, or even if you're writing just a small piece of social media post, or maybe you are making a presentation, or you want to make videos, all of it is your personal creation. It is your creativity, how you want to present an idea or an information to a larger audience. And storytelling is again an art that journalism entails. Whether you want to tell in a video form or an article form, you need to know a little bit of storytelling, and that is where creativity plays a crucial role. So because of these aspects, I say that space journalism is where curiosity and creativity converge. For me personally, even though I was a space enthusiast for as long as I remember, I wasn't the best with maths and science and the technical stuff. So I thought this will always be a mere fascination, a secret fascination that I'll keep reading about. But thankfully, I found space journalism, where I realized that I might not know all the technical aspects, but because of my research, my reading, and my questioning, I can actually pursue my interest in the space industry and also help more and more people get informed about this. So creativity and curiosity combined give you space journalism as I see it. So all of you out there who are really interested in the space industry, who are curious about what's happening within the universe, outside of the Earth, but you don't know that you are as great with rocket science, don't worry. There's so much more that the space industry has, even if you are not the best with engineering and technical stuff. Space journalism is just one of your ways to find your path towards exploring that curiosity and exposing your creativity. As today's theme is about unity through art and performance, I'll talk about that in space journalism. See, I feel that as a journalist, you are always creating, and every creation is a performance, if you ask me, even if it's your editor who's reading it, even if it is one person who's watching your video, or there are thousands of them. Each of it is a performance. It sort of displays your unique way of telling that particular idea, your unique way of expressing that information and that story. So I believe that space journalism allows you to perform and explore art as well. And space is definitely something I always feel where everyone unites, every other industry, because space doesn't go solo. It is a vast industry where every other industry just culminates. So space and art, these are, I think, two areas that unite us as humans. They allow us to be individuals. They allow us to explore our individuality and yet somehow bring us to our common universality. And as a space journalist, you are not just reporting the facts. You also have a chance to be a STEAM educator if you want to take up that responsibility, because you are reading, you are talking to the experts, you are attending events, you are researching, and you are presenting those ideas. So you have a great responsibility and opportunity to just let more and more people know about the industry and about what all is going on. These are just some of the things that I have written here, that the opportunities and the skills that the space journalism industry has. Right now, we are at a very, very exciting phase for the space industry on a whole, and it's expanding. So because it's expanding, we need more and more communicators to put out the right information and to let it reach to more and more people so that they realize how exciting and amazing the space industry is. With social media, you have more opportunities now. There are a lot of space industry experts who have their own opportunities on social media who allow you to intern. You definitely have publications, websites, and a lot of platforms where you can reach out. You have organizations that are coming up like SGAC that allow students to participate, to intern, to just showcase their interest in space in different forms. And being able to communicate, being able to tell a story, being able to read and take up that responsibility of communicating the right information are just some skills that I feel are important as a space journalist. And before I wrap up, this is one thing I want to say, that I remember I heard Elon Musk somewhere mentioning that we got to be excited about the future. And I really believe I echo that statement, because of course we have issues and concerns in the present, but we have hope in future. We have possibilities that lie ahead of us. Possibilities that make us want to live, that make us want to find solutions, that make us ambitious, and that push us to explore beyond our imaginations. And isn't all of this synonymous with space as well as art? Because it's a platform of probabilities, creativity, curiosity, individuality, and yet our common universality. I know I'm reiterating this, but I just believe so strongly in this that that is how space and arts allow us that platform to be our own selves, to give our own voices, and yet be unified as a cosmic civilization. Because these are the emotions that I think unite us all as humans. So to everybody who's listening, I hope that you find your curiosities, your interests answered in the space industry. You find your voices, and yeah, you can just explore your creativity out there.
You know what? I love what you're saying is that just like music is pretty much the universal language, I do really believe, and art is that same universal language. Space is, and I love how you put it, that it is like it does bind us together with this great cosmic perspective. And so, do you have any advice? What I heard you say, it doesn't matter if one person reads your art or your article or your post, or 1,000, or it goes viral. What do you have to say to encourage? Because social media can make us compare ourselves with, oh, that science communicator just got more likes and they posted nearly the same thing I'm talking about. What is your encouragement to those out there who want to communicate but are just beginning to start out in that endeavor?
Right. I think that is one common thought. I wouldn't agree that it doesn't pass my own mind as well. There are moments that comes across. But I think at the end of it, for me personally, what I've found where I ground myself is why I'm doing what I'm doing. Whether I'm doing it for the likes or I'm doing it for my sheer interest of putting out this information. Because whether I make one content a week or I make a content every day, I'm equally excited. I've seen myself when I'm reading anything about the space industry. So I think that is where I found my ground. I remind myself every time that thought comes that, you know what, let's take a step back and let's just remind myself, why am I doing this and why I started this? So I think that is when the number game sort of takes a backseat, because what's important for me is I'm putting out what I want to put and hoping it reaches to someone who aligns with that thought. Now, whether that's 1, 10, or 1,000 is something you have to sort of allow to take a backseat. Let your why and your vision rule and not the algorithm, is what I would say.
I love that. Let your why you are doing it lead the way. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Janet. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
All right. So, in the spirit of sharing some things, I have been doing and working with children in both art and science. Oh, now I'm going to tell my age. I started when I was 2. No, for the last 29 years. It's like in May of 1992, I can mark that moment where I was performing with and for children with something called the Opryland Kids Club. I have my degree in music and theater, so many of you might be going, why is this nerdy girl who has her degree and bachelor's degree in music and theater so passionate about space? I can trace it back to a teacher must like Julia, who inspired me at age 10 to love the solar system, Miss Ernestine Yarborough. So hardly a moment I ever like to talk about my love of art and space. She encouraged all of that. She knew I loved my saxophone. She knew I loved to sing and play the piano and be in the school play. But she also encouraged my science. She would daily go, Janet, science is not just for the boys, it's for the girls too. So I owe her an immense amount that I can never repay because she encouraged my art and my science to live alongside one another. And so in the spirit of that, and again, it's like what I really resonate with all that you guys are saying is that the same brain that conceives the symphony, as Mozart would sit down and write some, beautiful requiem, is also the same brain that conceives something like the Parker Solar Probe or the James Webb Telescope. It is that same mode of creativity. And we rob ourselves if we ever cheat children out of letting all of their art and curiosity not sit along with also the hard science or thinking they can't understand the hard science. So I'm going to
let me just introduce everyone to Janet.
Oh.
We never met my dear friend. She's CEO of Janet's Planet. She's a brilliant children's educator. President of Explore Mars, citizen astronaut candidate for Space for Humanity. She was a NASA GPL Solar System Ambassador, award-winning science educator, 12 regional Emmy Awards, 5 Gracie Awards, STEM Florida Award for exploring microgravity, 35-minute documentary for students 3 till 8, and twice times TED Talk speaker, and a professional actor and singer. So we're looking forward to hear your voice with pull up the song that you're singing.
Oh, that's all right. No, I'm going to go ahead and sing it live for you guys. So if we'd been doing this on another day, I would have had a piano player here. But this song is called The Best Gift. And years ago, I got to sing it in this great production. And for me and for all of those of you who are educators at heart and love inspiring the next generation, I think this will resonate with you because kids to me are the best gifts for the future of this planet and beyond. The best gift that I ever got didn't really weigh a lot. It didn't have a ribbon round, and it sometimes made a terrible sound. And best of all, it seems to me it wasn't neath the Christmas tree. And yet, I guess I'd have to say that it made all the other presents twice as gay. The best gift that I've ever known, I'd always wanted most to own. Yet in my dreams of sugar and spice, I never thought it could be so nice. The best gift that I'll ever get was sometimes dry and sometimes wet, was usually pink, but oftentimes red, as it lay so innocently in its bed. The best gift of the year to me, the one I hold so dear to me, the gift that simply drove me wild, was a tiny newborn child. So that is my Merry Christmas gift, and a reminder that let us all embrace the most precious of this planet. So thank you guys for listening to that. Next up, we have a wonderful student, 15 years old, from Israel, Hadar Kreisman, studies medicine, biology, and literature in school, a student who is in year 2 at the Science Accelerator International Program. She is also they are also part of, I guess that same high school is really on track for space entrepreneurship. In Hadar's free time, she plays piano and guitar, volunteers at MDA, reads, cooks, and loves to be with friends. So again, let's make room for this fantastic student.
Thank you very much. After your performance, I just will be so bad, but you're wonderful.
No. You will be fantastic.
Wonderful. How am I supposed to perform? So actually, I have a guitar, and this song called Zero Gravity, and I hope you'll join us. So
I have no doubts, my dear.
Okay, thanks. We were born into a broken world. We need to fix it up before the time runs out and everything explodes. Yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery. I need to stand my destiny to save the one I love before the time runs out. And all the stars are calling me from the night sky above. I have to go. There's so much I don't know, so much we don't see, even when our eyes are open. Feel like I'm drowning in the silence I can't breathe. I have to keep believing. There's so much more it has to be. There is nothing holding me in zero gravity. That's it.
I want you on my crew. You will take, when we go to Mars, because it's like I have this vision, Hien, that it's like that by the time people get to Mars, they will decide they need a grandma there. And so who better to go than me? It'll be Grandma Jan Jan on Mars, and Hadar. It's like you got to bring your guitar. It's like it'll be boring. It's a long way out there, and we're going to need some of that. So yeah, you just grab the guitar, we'll sing. So tell me what it is and why you are so excited about the possibility of space entrepreneurship or being in the space industry. What gets you excited?
Actually, since I was a child, I always looked up to the stars, and so it was so beautiful. And my grandmother always taught me that no matter how many questions you have, just ask them before somebody else asks, and then there will be like millions of answers. And I believe that we have so much to see, and we know so very little. And I have so many questions and so little time. So I think the best way to save this planet and Mars and ourselves is just ask as many questions we can and be happy and be kind. And I will just wish you all Merry Christmas and keep asking questions. And I hope I will get right answers. So
You know, it's like you said all my favorite words. Keep asking questions and be kind. It's like that is where I feel, and that's what brings me to tears, because that's why I have great hope for this planet and wherever we'll travel, is because of your sentiments. Because I know that you and your generation have learned all the lessons from all of us and how not to be kind. And you're going to like create a generation of humans on Earth and off world that's going to take that kindness and understands that the only way we get through this is together. So I bow before your talent, your genius, and your heart for how you're going to lead this next generation to do great things.
I
With
will try.
all my love. Yes. So beautiful and inspiring. That's what I tell everybody all the time. If you ever, like, you stop watching the news on any channel ever, and then go talk to a young student. They will get you so encouraged about life and what the future holds. That's what I do. Turn off the news, go talk to a student, and you will undoubtedly be fantastically inspired. Now, Hien, do you want to introduce this next guest? It's like, I think there is a pre-recording here.
It's your friend, Dr. Jancy McPhee.
Oh, yes, I see. Oh, let me tell you about Jancy. So I met Jancy a few years ago. It's wonderful, and I hope you guys all experience this, where invariably somebody goes, you know who you need to know, and always follow up on those, because those are usually the best kinds of introductions. And Jancy is brilliant. She has a degree in neurobiology and behavior from Cornell. Her PhD is in biophysics. And then you go, oh, and she also founded SciArt Exchange. So she was a cellular and molecular neuroscience researcher in academia for about 17 years before she joined NASA. And she was doing biomedical research there. And since 2010, her goals have been to find how to motivate and find novel ways to enhance space education and science and technology innovation. So that's why she created the Humans in Space Art program, or SciArt Exchange, to encourage people of all ages, cultures, and backgrounds to think about and creatively communicate their visions of the future of human space exploration through visual art, literary art, musical endeavors, and video art. And so far, the program has engaged thousands of artists, and hundreds of thousands have viewed multimedia artwork, displays, and performances online, locally, in museums and elsewhere. Basically, I would really encourage you to find her and follow her on all social media platforms at SciArt Exchange. I think on Twitter it might be Space Art SAE. But again, this is someone you want to follow. They regularly, SciArt Exchange also received $1 million from Blue Origin to continue her great work. So here is our dear friend, Dr. Jancy McPhee, and here to tell us a little bit about how she inspires through art.
Thank you very much for that kind invitation and for inviting me to be a part of your event. We at SciArt Exchange are very interested in getting everyone involved in the future of space exploration and development. We want to explore united as humanity, not just one country. Let me show you a trailer that will briefly tell you a little bit about SciArt Exchange. What if we could bring people from all ages, backgrounds, and cultures together to solve the challenges ahead? What could we achieve? Where could we go? SciArt Exchange was conceived based on the International Humans in Space Art Program, which I created while a NASA scientist 10 years ago. Originally, to give youth worldwide a chance to learn about space and relay their vision of the future through visual, literary, musical, and video art. After all, Children are the future. We use the
We have a problem there with the connection. Janet, can you hear me?
I can. And it's like these kinds of things often happen. Maybe it going again?
the future of space exploration. Through our activities, SciArt Exchange invites, prepares, and convenes people to discuss and potentially solve space, science, and technology challenges using a multimedia approach. We aim to foster communication, creativity, and intellectual boundaries. Children, early career professionals, and full career scientists and artists. 9,000 people from over 60 countries have participated in our contests and campaigns, and over 3 million people have seen or heard the artwork in person worldwide.
Ian, are you there?
Yeah, we're experiencing just a bit of delay.
It builds processes to work together. It's exciting. It's important. It's our future, and we invite you to come join us.
And again, we will invite you to go and check out SciArt Exchange. You can see there at the sciartexchange.org is their website. I love all of the amazing work that the adults do. Sorry, adults, I'm always going to be looking for what the kids are doing, but truly amazing. And as I look at this, did I skip over Vered? Did I skip over you, love? I believe I may have. So I'm going to come back and have you share. And I know that you are doing amazing things. And I want you, if you would like to come and share what you are doing with your amazing self.
Audio is back.
Did I skip
hear
there?
you now, Janet. We can move on to the next speaker now.
Okay, so is that Laurie? Laurie, I believe that is you coming next. So I have to tell everybody I'm a bit fangirling. I bow before Lori Arth. She is amazing what she has done with her music, and it is my extreme pleasure to introduce this American education pioneer, truly. Lori Arth has taught music classes for over 20 years. In 2019, Lori published her first book, Rocket Recorder. It's basically this innovative recorder book that combines the contrasting disciplines of music with space exploration. And this sort of created a pipeline for children into STEM and STEAM fields. And that has always been important to her and her work. You can follow that and you'll see evidences of that everywhere. Rocket Recorder has received the prestigious Space Foundation certification, and volunteer activities for Laurie include being a teacher liaison with the Space Foundation and the Air Force Association. She's a contractor with the Jesse Norman School for the Arts, and she sings professionally and beautifully. And you also can check her out at laurieorth.com. So again, everyone, please meet my dear friend, Laurie.
Thank you so much, Janet. Wow, I follow you too. I am so happy to be here. Thank you, Ian, for having me. I would like to share a video of my students from the Savannah River Academy performing a song that I wrote called Space Explorer's Anthem. And this was a part of the curriculum as we moved towards the pinnacle of this year, where we had a downlink with the International Space Station. So the younger students that I taught got to work on this song, and we used a lot of images and visuals in class, in the music classroom, to talk about the words of the song. And then we got to do it as a music video. We had a drone camera do the final shot. It was very STEAM oriented, the entire process. So I'm thrilled to pieces about this. So let me do my screen share and I'll show you, and then I'll come back on the other side. Okay. We'll make this big.
What do you want to know about rockets?
How do they build rockets?
What would you like to ask an astronaut?
What would it be like to be in zero gravity?
What do you want to know about rockets?
How much gas do they have?
What would you like to ask an astronaut?
How do you scratch your head with the helmet on?
What do you want to know about rockets?
How do they launch?
What would you ask an astronaut?
If there are pet bunnies in the ISS.
What would you build on a space base on Mars?
I build a city dome so they can breathe air and not having to be trapped in their houses all day.
What do you want to know about rockets?
How big they are.
What would you like to ask an astronaut?
Can you bring your pets to space?
What do you want to know about rockets?
If they can fly all the way up to the moon.
What do you want to know about rockets?
Why do they need so much fuel to lift off? Starship is in startup mode. 3, 2, 1, lift off!
Just lovely, and bravo. Oh, my friend, tell us more about what you do.
Okay, let me stop sharing. Okay. I'm so glad you got to see that. I'm so proud of my students. Oh, ooh, sorry. Let me turn this off. Great. I write space-themed music for my students, and I teach music education and space education simultaneously, because why not? It's so fun. I'm so into space, and it's such a curiosity builder. It gets their all of their endorphins firing, so they're ready to learn my subject, which is music. And I use that space to get them into learning music. And I did it as an experiment, and I found that it worked. And I thought, I'm going to keep doing this. And so I used it to teach recorder. And it was such a departure from the traditional recorder literature for beginning students, which is based on folk songs and nursery rhymes. And I ran into trouble when I was teaching middle school students the recorder. They didn't want to learn that kind of baby music, they thought. And so they were thrilled when I brought in, I said, who wants to learn about reusable rockets? And so we started talking about SpaceX and reusable rockets, and how in the old days with the Saturn V's, they used to drop into the ocean. And the kids were like, oh, why would they do that? That's so wasteful. Well, yeah, it was. And so, we've gotten new technologies. And so that opened the door to start talking about space in my music class. And then I started writing music about it. And then I published it. So Space Explorers Anthem is a song that I wrote before I went to a music educators conference. And I wrote it as a kind of a go fight win for the music educators to do at the close of my presentation. And then I have wanted to put it out into the public, and I got to premiere it with Ian and Space Connects and all of you. And it's all about unity. If you caught the words together, overcoming trials. And I got to talk to my students about space is hard, and I've been able to say in my classroom, we're going to have to all get along. And we have to be kind in order to do that. And so those things have come through all of the work. Their curiosity is amazing. I bring in my Falcon 9 model, which is right behind me back there, and I talk about the first and second stage boosters in class. And one of my students said, why is the second stage booster, a 7-year-old, why is the second stage booster smaller? It has to go farther. Why? And then I'm talking about the propellant tanks, and I'm thinking, okay, we're going way outside the bounds of music education right now. Help. And I reached out to somebody on LinkedIn, a young engineer at SpaceX, and I said, can you help me explain this to a student who's 7? I need little words. But that's the kind of like embracing the space community that's happening because of this. So I've just enjoyed this thoroughly. And my school has enjoyed it. Savannah River Academy was so kind to participate in this venture so that we could be on today's show with our song for Space Explorers Anthem. And if you heard at the very end, the young girl that comes on, she's the girl. She says, Starship is in startup mode, which is eventually Starship will be going off planet to Mars. And that's how the rocket launches will start. Falcon 9 is in startup. So I said, we're going to put in Starship is in startup. And they loved practicing over and over the 3, 2, 1 liftoff.
Oh, it's just magnificent. And again, just proof that art and science sits so well. It's almost what I've always kind of been a proposition of mine, is that when we create multiple entry points and when we give art its chance, or dance, or you can dance the life cycle of a star, you can sing your science, you can write poetry, you can rap your science. I am a child of the 70s, so I was a kid then, and listening to something we had here in the US called Schoolhouse Rock, and you could literally sing anything about history, science, etc. And I still remember it to this day. So the power of how we learn music really kind of gets it in there. What do you see when you sing it? Do you hear them remembering it? Do you have anybody coming back and is like, Miss Orth, I remember this because you taught it to me? Do you have any stories like that?
I have stories of students coming up with such unusual things, but then I will find that I have just been reading about it in space literature. I had a student say, can you move a piano in space? And I was like, well, actually, I was just reading about that. They did have to move a satellite from the space shuttle, and the Canada arm either wasn't built or couldn't work. So the astronauts grabbed it. And I thought, well, yeah, if it was a piano, yeah, they could do it. And she also asked about, how do astronauts barf in space? And I said, I was just reading about that in Scott Kelly's book, Endurance. And I ended up writing a song about that. So you can hear it. It's on my YouTube channel.
We highly recommend everybody go and check out her work. Get in touch with her if you would love for your students to sing some of her great music. Find out where the publisher, how you can tap into that. Thank you so much for that. Just a joy to hear and a great inspiration for us all. Our next guest is Vered Cohen Barzilay. She's an Israeli-born social entrepreneur, tenacious advocate for aviation, space, and science education. She's also the founder and director of Out of the Box Social Enterprises to promote innovation and entrepreneurship in education. Out of the Box develop and operate innovative courses in STEAM with special focuses on aerospace. You can find her at www.scienceaccelerator.space. She serves as a mentor at Space for Women, a project of the United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs to promote women's empowerment in space. Also serves as a mentor at Starburst IAI 8200 Impact Accelerators. Please make welcome Vered.
Hello, Janet, and Merry Christmas to
Merry
you and all our
Christmas.
viewers. And
Tell
I
us
must,
about what you do. Like, I want to know. I always love to know that moment of inspiration and how you got to what you're doing.
well, first of all, you read my bio, but you forgot to say that I'm a proud mother of my student Hadar that just sang earlier. And,
Oh!
and
I didn't put all that together.
And this is something that we do. I encourage them not just to be entrepreneurs, but also to combine between art and fashion and everything, to space, because space is everything and space is very exciting. And earlier today, we just broadcast live the launch of the James Webb Telescope. So it's a very festive day, not just Christmas. How I started, well, for me it was a long road because I didn't start it as a scientist. I started, as a journalist, and then one day it just, hit me that I'm an entrepreneur. I want to do something, and I think that space suddenly, at some point, started to speak to me as a woman, to me as an Israeli, to me as an entrepreneur, as a person that imagine, and not just as a person of art, of word, of humanity. So I think it approaches me, and at that day I realized that I have so much to give back to space and education.
It's just tremendous. Do you have something you want us to play, right? So we are about to show something here. Watch this.
I wanted to show a little bit with the holiday spirit, space entrepreneurship from a 15 years old point of view, because most of our students are young, but they are very talented. So I will share my screen now and share the video clip.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Well, that's it.
Oh, bravo and well done. Like, I caught myself wanting to just read the words out loud and rap along with it. I'm going to have to get a copy of that to share with my students. That is brilliant. Thank you so much. And thank you for begetting Hadar, because again, what you're doing and how you are pushing other women and girls forward into space. Quite lovely. So thank you so
very
much.
much. And thank you for this wonderful show. And you are a star, as I wrote. Thank you for this lovely song and this, wonderful host work that you are doing.
Oh, you know what? It is my joy and always to celebrate other great females. You know, Hien does that so beautifully, and she is the kind of glue and what I call the real connect, the cosmic connector of all of these beautiful relationships. So we thank our beautiful creator today for making this possible. I want to now introduce you to Nanya. Now, maybe make sure that I'm saying this correctly, and please, if I mess it up, you will definitely tell me how. But Nayanthara is a final year student from India specializing in electronics. She's a space enthusiast, and her goal is to work on quantum technology in the space sector to make sure that we're heading towards accuracy and completeness. She has been Hien's mentee since March 2021. She's keen on pursuing a master's degree in mathematics and computing. And Nayanthara, I want to introduce you to my friend Naeem Altaf, who is the chief technologist in space for IBM, and he is working on quantum computing. Maybe Hien and I can work on creating an introduction there as well, but we're grateful to have you.
Well, thank you so much, Janet, for that warm introduction. And Merry Christmas, everyone across the globe. I hope you're having a great day today. And thanks for being with us today. Well, today, as we celebrate James Webb Telescope's launch and coinciding with Christmas, what more could we have asked for to end the year with? That being said, I'm here today to, present two of my poems that I've written this year. And well, the reason why I present this to you is this far we have had an informative session, and all of us being space enthusiasts, I think it's very important that we take a break in our lives with all the information and the race for all that we want to achieve, and we must. It is important to rejoice the little things that life has for us. That being said, I present to you my first poem. It is titled Revolution. And what this poem highlights is that we may want to learn from history, and we may want to be better than what we have experienced in the past. So be that in the space field or personal, professional. So here the poem goes for you, titled Revolution. Millions of years ago, when life began from matter and energy to the evolution of Neanderthals, they called it revolution. When Christ was born and there began advent of religion, they called it revolution. They called it revolution when the innocent were plundered and conquered, when the oppressed overcame their suppression and fought back. They called it revolution. When scientific progress began and inventions of machines thus, they called it revolution. The shedding of blood for the sake of power came to be known as revolution. Anyone successful of planting ideas in the minds of the masses, irrespective of right or wrong, were called revolutionaries. These revolutionaries emerged to become leaders, ultimately being assassinated in cold blood. With nations acquiring their fathers, they called it revolution. Today, as the world is as we are, although we have succeeded in making better machines than humans and conquering the unimaginable, the world still needs that little bit of improvement. We call this revolution. That was my first poem. The second one is titled Tranquility. And here it goes. After a heavy thunderous storm and an aberrant deluge, there follows a pleasant, reassuring, picturesque sunrise. After the clash of the repugnant clouds, there follows a vivid spectrum of bleak shades. Battles are fought and heads severed, with the battlefield witnessing ghastly bloodshed. But there is a quietude of repent at the end of it all. The sequestered night sky falls after a life of commotion in a city. Today, as we are in the midst of a tumultuous phase in history, there still is hope. There will be light at the end of the tunnel, for a pandemonium always culminates in tranquility. Thank you, and back to you, Janet.
I just want to download your brain, young one. Wow. Wow, wow. So again, it's like I can already see the partnership here. So as you have to like, I mean, you've got your future poet, artist, space communicator right here. Brilliant, my love. And when we can, it's like you remind me so much of the brilliant gal who read at the inauguration earlier this year. And again, keep writing. These are the ways that we communicate story. And, you know, early on, Hien was speaking about, it's like, what is the greatest adventure story that we can tell? And it is one of this space adventure. Best of luck, and please, best wishes on all your amazing, amazing endeavors. Next up, we have what we would like to, we've got a pre-recording, but let me introduce this speaker. Victor Villegas is the Technology and Media Support Coordinator for Oregon State University, and he lives in Salem, Oregon. And he's known as the drone singer, or the Weird Al of drones, the world's #1 creator of parody songs about drones. And as drone singer, he creatively uses drones, music, humor, puppetry, poetry, and storytelling in English and in Spanish. So it's quite beautiful. He's a bilingual STEAM edutainer. And Victor believes in the power of the arts to inspire and educate, sparking interest in STEM and STEAM. And he's currently working on a bilingual science-based space-themed children's music album. I think Laurie and Victor need to know one another. Take a listen and watch this.
Just give me one moment. Everyone can see the screen, yes?
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Hello, everyone. My name is Victor Villegas, also known as Drone Singer, and I'm here with my little buddy, Pedro Infantil, also known as Little Pedro. That's right, Little Pedro is actually a Marachi astronaut in training, si senor, and I want to be the first mariachi to live and sing on Mars. Really? Yes, I actually have a song about it. Would you like to hear? Sure. Okay, start the music. All right. Saludos to all people who listen to this song. My name is Little Pedro. I'm only 3 feet tall, but I have a dream muy grande to fly among the stars. For I want to be the first mariachi to live and sing on Mars. To be the first mariachi to live and sing on Mars will not be very fácil. I'll have to study hard. To fly to the red planet is my life's biggest goal. For I want to be the first mariachi to live and sing on Mars. To be a mariachi astronaut, I'll need to study hard. Learn science and technology, engineering, math, and the arts. But it will all be worth it when I finally reach my goal to become the first mariachi to live and sing on Mars. My dream might seem quite silly, and some would agree. But trying to make my dreams come true makes all the sense to me. For I have a goal worth reaching, a goal I will achieve. To be the first mariachi on Mars is what I want to be. Sorry, I got a little carried away. That's all right. It's actually a great goal that you have. Thank you. And I know I will achieve it because I will work very hard at it. Thanks for that message, little Pedro. You're welcome.
Oh, I love it. And again, as you're seeing, it takes us all and all different kinds of art to communicate and get STEM and STEAM interest. Next up, we have the lovely Kara. You'll have to make sure, Kara Kunzman. She's the lead futurist for strategic foresight for the Center for Space Policy and Strategy at the Aerospace Corporation. In her role, she is focused on cultivating a formalized approach to futures thinking at aerospace through the Strategic Foresight Corporate Strategic Initiative, or CSI. And basically, she's helping the enterprise adequately prepare their organizations and capabilities to proactively shape the future through innovative approaches across strategy, acquisitions, S&T portfolio management, policy, and operations. So, Kara, let me know how you say your name, and then tell us more about how you do it.
There's no audio. Oh, I don't hear anything.
Yes, we have 0 audio, but we are working hard to correct that. Again, I hope that you're getting the sense that there is an entire global community committed to making sure that not only this generation, but the next and the next one after that are all prepared for our future in space. And so if any of you are out there thinking, how might we participate, you could get in touch with any of us. But if you have an idea or you have an industry, I will tell you that there is always someone younger than you that would be interested in doing what you do or learning about what you do. There we go.
About the future. Most importantly, the future of humanity and how space can play a role in uplifting the future for everybody. So I thought it'd be really fun today to walk through one of our latest releases, the Pathfinder's Guide to the Space Enterprise, which is now in a digital interactive version. And so I thought I could share with you all some of the highlights from it and also help encourage you to go check it out yourself. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and share the map, and we're just going to kind of dive in together. So let's do it. Okay, so this is our map. This is the screen that you'll enter. And there's some navigation tips. So this is our interactive map. For those of you that maybe have seen our first map, this is what it looks like. And so we've just taken all the content, all the research, and kind of added on from there. For those of you that may not know, our team has spent a lot of time thinking about the future. We practice something called strategic foresighting, which are kind of systematic methods for thinking about the future. We leveraged over 70 subject matter experts through a series of workshops to try to synthesize what are some ways in which we can start conceptualizing and discussing the future. And so that's what this map is all about. And in there, we thought there are really 7 core themes speaking to us about the future. We have access, resources, exploration, intelligence, workforce, conflict, and players. And throughout this ecosystem, there's this really rich place for us to start exploring the possibilities of the future. And so we've taken that map and we've turned it into something that is experiential. So let's go ahead and dive in. So on the left-hand side, you see we have our core themes, and you can hit on one and it'll zoom you right into that ecosystem. And for each of our themes, we have different orbits. The first orbit talks about things that are maybe already happening. We have reusable rockets, small launch, rideshare, launch on demand for access. And as we get further out in orbit, those things are starting to come on the horizon. Things like interplanetary infrastructure, routine cislunar, space cuts. And some of the most exciting discussions are actually happening at the intersection points. So let's take a look at one of the intersection points here. We have the space superhighway. Why don't we hear from Dr. Gordon Roessler, the CEO of Robots in Space, about what he thinks the future of the space superhighway is going to be.
Hi, I'm Gordon Roessler with Robots in Space. Here's what I think the next big thing will be in expanding humanity into the solar system. Right now, the money comes from near the Earth, from low Earth orbit and geosynchronous orbit. But pretty soon, we're going to have people living on the moon, and they're going to have people living in private space stations. They're going to need food. We're also going to be harvesting water ice on the moon and using it for rocket propellant. People are going to want to build the next largest telescope in space. What we need is a system to connect all of these things together. Robot tugs moving goods and fuel around between the Earth, the moon, and everything in between. I call it the space superhighway. We know how to do this. We have the technology. And it could be up and running in the next 5 to 10 years. So be looking for the space superhighway.
Don't you just love that? The space superhighway. How inspiring. Let's go take a look in some other hot spots on the map. So intelligence infrastructure. We have things like geotagging the internet, unbreakable encryption. Then we start moving into cosmic data havens, programmable matter, citizen satellites. If we look at things like exploration, we can see things about where humans and robots might be, both near term and long term, and what it might actually be like to discover life off-world and adapting to off-world habitats. We have such a range of perspectives captured at each of these intersection points, and it's really fun to kind of explore them individually, but also as you step back and you look across this ecosystem. What do you see? What inspires you? What do you want to help accelerate, move faster, and help deliver for everybody that's back on planet Earth and for humankind? So anyways, hopefully the Pathfinder's Guide to the Space Enterprise Digital Edition is something you can check out during this holiday season to find a spark that might inspire you as you enter the new year. You can check out this map. Again, please make sure you do that on the desktop version on your computer. It's not yet available on mobile. By going to the Aerospace Corporation's website, /strategic foresight, and you will find a link to the Pathfinder's Guide to the Space Enterprise there. Well, with that, I guess ad astra, and we wish everybody from Aerospace Corporation and our futures team a very happy holiday season. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thanks to Cara for that. Please do check that out. What a great resource. And last but certainly not least, she looks like she is headed to the ball. We have Meredith Garofalo. What an accomplished and wonderful gal she is. She's a certified broadcast meteorologist as designated by the American Meteorological Society, and she is a science and space journalist. She's the senior meteorologist for News 12 New York, covering Hudson Valley, Long Island, the Bronx, and Brooklyn. She was also the 2021 chair for the AMS Station Scientist Committee, which focuses on raising greater awareness and outreach when it comes to science education for viewers. Again, Meredith is an accomplished reporter producing weather and science stories, which includes also rocket launches at Vandenberg Space Force Base and Cape Canaveral. She's done many special reports and features on NOAA's GOES-R and JPSS satellite series, and has done some coverage on some of NASA's biggest accomplishments over the past 4 years. She's interviewed some of the top scientists and leaders of the space and science community, being selected as the only meteorologist to travel with the GOES-West satellite from Colorado to Florida in 2017 on the C5M Super Galaxy. Again, she has, in this last decade, she has also been recognized by Valparaiso University for her First Decade Achievement Award in 2018. She was a panel moderator at the 35th and 36th Space Symposium, the 2018 AMS Summer Conference, and the 2021 Satellite Conference in Washington, D.C. She was invited again to be a moderator for the 2022 Satellite Conference. She serves as a judge for the Space Foundation Space Technology Hall of Fame, and she spends countless hours doing school, career, motivational talks, and participates in podcasts to help encourage women pursuing STEM careers and inspire future generations. She is also a girl after my own heart, an accomplished singer and actor, most recognized by performing the national anthem at a Denver Broncos game in 2018 and for the Cleveland Indians in 2021. Meredith, take it away.
Oh my gosh, thank you guys. I'm so happy to be here. Merry Christmas, happy holidays to everybody that's joining us from all over the world. I'm in New York City area, actually living on Long Island, and I'm so happy I'm able to do this. I'm actually going to be doing the weather forecasting tonight across our tri-state area. So I'm happy I was able to get some time in. And I'm so happy to be here. I've been volunteering with this wonderful organization over the last year. And, you know, it's been great because I've met some incredible people. I've chatted with some wonderful people from all over the world. And I look forward to joining forces with everyone and continuing to volunteer as we go into 2022. So today I'm actually going to perform for the first time. And aside from me singing it when I was writing this, I also write music. And I wrote this song for a very special friend of mine that was going through a tough time this summer. And when I was thinking about the holidays, a lot of people go through tough times as well. It's not something that happens, or sometimes it's just a continuation of just end of the year things that are going on. And so I hope this song gives you some motivation and inspiration as I perform now for you with a fantastic background track by Lori's sister, actually. Thank you so much for her composing. I can't remember her name. So Lori, please give your sister a shout out right now if you can, because she deserves it.
Her name is Lisa Hasselback.
Lisa Hasselback. Thank you, Lisa. For the first time here on our show, I'd love to perform now for you. Be strong, be you. Hopefully you guys can hear everything okay. Life's not easy, that much we know. Stuck in the same place, other days we soar and grow. The good times come, but the bad are there too. But never ever give up on being you. You wanna be strong with unstoppable drive, and sometimes you hit a wall, wondering how you'll survive. So much stronger than you think, it'll be alright. And in the silence, I'll be there for you, day and night. And there's darkness on the journey with so many unknowns, but keep searching for the light. You'll never be alone. And troubles may take days and weeks sometimes, but never lose yourself. These are temporary times. I wish there was more I could say or do, but for now I'll keep waiting, give my best support to you. May the words of this song help navigate the way. Be strong, be you, for the moment, and every single day. Every single day. I'm waiting for that day.
Oh, so beautiful. Oh my gosh. I hope your friend was encouraged. I hope anyone who out there who needed that encouragement just received it. Gorgeous, Meredith. Wow. A true Renaissance, ladies, we have here. Truly, you all are in so many fashions that you love your art, you love your science, and you're also incredible philanthropists to students and those around you. Hian, I'm going to turn it over to you. A big thank you to everyone who has joined, watched, and shared this great morning. Where would you like to go next, Hian?
Wow, 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 wow. I'm in awe. Thank you, everyone, for devoting your time with us on Christmas Day. Do we still have time for Q&A? Janet, we have many questions.
We do have lots of questions. It's like if you guys can let us know, or we'll kind of do a round robin of some of the questions you would like to do, but I'm free to stay on a few moments longer. You can let us know.
The first question is, how do you envision art unifying humanity in space?
Ooh, who wants to take that one?
Laura, maybe?
Yeah, Laurie, do you want to take a shot at that one?
Sure. I think that learning about space puts us in a mindset of thinking about the future. And there's a lot of hope in that. And it focuses us on hope for making things that will work in space and off planet. And we've got a lot of struggles and challenges on our planet now. And the things that we're working on for space can help us right now. And the space community is so international, and there are no boundaries of people fighting and arguing. We all have to get along. And that is what happens when you focus on something that's going to be used in space. You got to make it work.
And that is a question I have for Julia, which I think is the perfect lead in. How can we cultivate a healthy space culture so that different types of space actors work together?
So for many years, I worked as an avionics instructor for the International Space Station, teaching astronauts and flight controllers, coordinating our activities with many nations. And it was an amazing example of international cooperation and developing the new space culture. So we have a good start for that. But of course, we need to teach our upcoming generation about the interdependence, all the interconnections, that we cannot really isolate ourselves in space, that all our actions affect everyone else. A good example is space debris, of course. If you destroy a satellite on the low orbit, it creates a series of fragments that starts hitting other satellites and rockets, creating a chain reaction, right? So it can eventually trap it on our planet. So whatever we do affects everyone. And it is really important for people to understand this from really early age. And of course, now that we're developing the commercial space program, it will bring lots and lots of changes into the space culture, creating new ways of collaboration, creating new ways for people to interact, to explore, to trade in space. And I think it will really enrich the space culture as we know.
I am hoping every word of that is true. And for folks like you who have seen that beautiful collaboration across nations, we know that it is possible. Okay, Nayanthara, I'm going to throw this question to you. What advice would you give your fellow students, but more importantly, to adults to promote unity in their communities through art? What's your advice? Like, talk to the adults. They're the ones that need the most kind of encouragement.
I agree, Janet. Yes. Well, I hope people know who I'm targeting. Well, okay, so to promote space, kids are very open, and we are all witness to that with various incidents. despite their backgrounds or whatever differences. I don't think kids really perceive that as differences or as barriers to exchange thoughts. But yes, like you said, we know who needs that. So this piece of advice goes to all of you. And I think to stay united, I think we just need to embrace everyone as we are, despite the flaws or whatever institutional thoughts that we have of them. I think it is very important that we're open to ideas, and however small or big the other person may seem, everyone has their take on things, and we all can promote unity, especially in the space industry. We need more women in STEM, whether it's in Europe, US, India. We do need them, and one way that we could promote that is simply by giving them the share they need, by letting people listen to what they've got to say and not suppressing people whatsoever it may be. So that's the little thing that we can do. And apart from that, yes, um, reading. I think reading is a great thing. Read across genres, because that is the only way we can increase our perspective to the greater answers that the world has got. And that's my take on your question. Back to you, Janet.
Brilliant. Give room for everybody to have a voice and keep informed. This question I'm going to throw to Ayushi and Meredith. I'll let you guys can decide who goes first. But what advice would you give others out there who want to inspire others but also continue their creative pursuits? Or what advice do you have for saying, you know what, I can be scientist, I can be artist, singer, writer, etc. What's your advice for others who want to follow in your footsteps?
I could go first. I think the hardest thing sometimes for us as humans is to be our true selves and find our true selves, because we're always wondering what everyone else thinks of us. Are people going to like us? Are they going to make fun of us? And as I've definitely learned in my own career, my own personal life, in the process of life, you just have to be true to you at the end of the day. As long as you're happy with who you are and you're feeling who you are in your heart, you know the people in your life that are always going to support you. And that's going to be important. But the most important thing is that you always love yourself and you're never afraid to be who you are meant to be. And like my song, you're going to find those times that are going to be troubling. It's not going to be easy all the time, but it's like anything, like a gravity wave. It goes up and down. So for every up, you have a down. For every down, you have an up. And I guess my best advice is to just never give up. And if you're passionate about something, go for it. And if you discover something new about yourself, I mean, it was almost 5 years ago that I found my passion for space. And I'm 35 years old. So I went 30 years of my life without finding what I'm extremely in love with now. And that's going into space and being Rocket Girl, as my nickname goes, and taking that to the news and my career in television broadcasting and getting people excited about not just science, but the science into space and what's behind space, and not just STEM careers, but now STEM in space. And so when you want to do something, first off, believe in yourself. And second, find people around you that are going to support your dreams and ideas. They might be right here on LinkedIn, people you've never met before in person that are going to support you and lift you up and encourage you. It could be your best friend. It could be a mentor. It could be your teacher. But get that support. Believe that you being true to you is all that's important. And then share your love and passion with the world. And the haters are going to be there. And you just wave as you walk on by and say, I love who I am. And I am proud to be who I am. And you stand up, you put your hands on your hips, and you do your Superwoman pose or Superman pose and say, I love my life. And I'm excited to share this part of my life with you.
You know what? I'm gonna take that clip and I'm gonna put it and I'm gonna play it for those days that still at 55 I go, whoa. But when you fall in love with all of you, your everything that is you, and you present that, you may not be everybody's choice of cup of coffee or cup of tea, but you will find that community where they're like, come on over here with us. Ayushi, you're throwing up hearts all over the place. What do you have to add?
because I couldn't agree more with what Meredith said and how beautifully she's put it. And I think the crux of it is also what I'll agree, because when you're growing up, even if you're in school or house, nobody will really tell you, at least when I was growing up, nobody told that you could be a space journalist, you could also do Zumba and be a poet and everything. It only came from me. So what she said about listening to yourself, and this is what I keep telling everyone, that connect with yourself. And like I was saying earlier, you have to know your why and then tell yourself, why not? Give it a try. If something appeals to your heart, why not give it a try and see how it works out for you? And when you take that leap of faith with, trusting yourself and the universe, it'll show you ways. It'll connect you with the people. So just listen to yourself, and like she was saying, be true to yourself. Because I always kept asking, I remember everything that I've done ever since I was a child was ask why. Why is this thing like that? Or why am I doing this? Why am I supposed to do this? Or why am I not supposed to do this? Sometimes I found the answer, sometimes I didn't, but I never stopped questioning. So know your why, and then why not? Like, give it a try, whatever it is that your heart is telling you. And I think that is where arts and space comes. Sorry.
I am unified and beautified by everyone's comments. We are a little bit on time. I'll be taking over and let Janet, thank Janet for this extraordinary moderation. As always, your energetic vibes and is much appreciated. Thank you so much.
Merry Christmas. I've got family and grandbabies and that sort of to go to. Everybody, happy holidays and keep shining.
Thank
Bye,
you,
everybody.
Janet. So everyone, we have a couple more questions. The next questions is for Julia, I believe. What are the major areas of concern with respect to sustainability, and can astrobiology bring about a solution for this?
So astrobiology helps us to reconsider what we take for granted. It helps us to reconsider what factors are important in supporting life. Astrobiologists, for example, may consider some deconstruction scenarios, as a friend of mine, astrobiologist Dr. Dinardik from Rice University, recently published a paper called How to Break a Habitable Planet. So by doing these deconstructionist exercises, we actually learn what keeps our planet habitable, and then we can do something about it, right? So another way we can think about astrobiology, sustainability, and the future is what my colleague, Dr. Graham Lau from Blue Marble Space Institute of Science says, that once we start thinking about whether there is life out there, we immediately start thinking about for how long do civilizations last and what can prevent them from maintaining themselves. Do they actually destroy themselves as they start seeking for more resources and more energy? And it helps us to get more aware of ourselves and what we're doing right now as a civilization, and to act more sustainably.
Thank you, Julia. The next and the last question. Can we reshape the recruitment process in the space industry in the future so that we as a community with an equal gender ratio? If yes, then what are the measures to be taken currently? Who wants to take this one? Meredith is leaving. Maybe you can comment before you go, or?
Sure. Can I ask the question one more time? Sorry, I was telling everyone in chat.
Can we reshape the recruitment process in the space industry in the future so that we are a community with an equal gender ratio?
Yes.
What are the measures to be taken at present?
Absolutely. You know, I just think we really need to encourage each other, male or female, no matter what your nationality is, your race is, your gender is. We all have to come together and support each other because, as I was mentioning earlier, and so many of these amazing speakers touched on, we're all unique in our own ways. And I think when you find somebody in this business on LinkedIn or somebody through the mentorships programs, or even a mentee that you have that connection with, it shouldn't matter who they are, where they came from. If you feel that connection, you should support that people. And I think the more we put ourselves out there and we're open and honest with other people about our dreams and goals, when you find people that are with those same dreams and goals, just embrace them and be there to support them. And I mean, I can speak for myself. I have a very busy schedule, but I will find time for the people that need encouragement. And I know a lot of people out there always say, oh, I'm so busy. I'm so busy. But you know what? You are never busy in life for the things you're passionate about and the people that matter to you. Whether it's finding 5 minutes to send a text, or whether it's scheduling a 15-minute phone call with somebody to help encourage them or make a connection to them to somebody else in the business that could help them. I think we all just need to stop rushing life and stop making excuses and start finding time to help each other out. Because look at what the world's going through right now with everything. It's a struggle for a lot of people, but if we all agree to come together and support people and be there, even if it is, you know, just giving a little bit of time, I think that's going to help mold everything together and encourage, for example, women to reach out to other women that they look up to. And if I can't help you, I'll help find somebody that can help you, and vice versa. So I just think let's stop making excuses and start making time, and let's make this world a better place by supporting each other.
Beautiful, Meredith, just you. Thank you so much. With that, I feel like everyone is unified, beautified. The only way out is in, through unity, and our hope is that we can take this unity consciousness on earth, off earth, and beyond. So thank you everyone for devoting your time and busy schedule to this holiday today. It's so much appreciated. We're looking forward to see your great work out there. And thank you so much. Stay happy, stay healthy, and have an abundant, prosperous new year.
Can I just add something there, Hien? I think just to what Meredith said, I really also want to say that conversations like this, what you're doing, bringing all of us together, especially women in the space industry, are also, I think, conversations like these really important, because that will just tell people more and more about the amazing work that women are doing in the space industry already. And I think that will be a great step towards bridging that gap. So thank you for organizing this.
Thank you, most welcome, Ayushi. As you said, I had once a mentor, he said, when you are being the you that you feel you should be, that's where the magic is. That's 4 times you. Only way in is out. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy holidays, everyone. Happy New Year.